Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Now every once in a while in this wonderful world of two wheels that we live in, something special comes along and says, please take me out to play. So today that's exactly what I'm going to do. This has the promise of being something really special. To look at, it's hotter than a summer in Sicily. But what's it like to ride? Well, I'm about to find out. Please welcome the Moto Guzzi Stelvio. Guzzi first introduced the Stelvio back in 2008 and it pretty much fizzled out by 2016. Maybe the world wasn't ready for it back then, but the question is, are we ready to try it again? I am in the Wicklow Mountains. It's very much a first ride, first thoughts, and very much live impressions. I haven't been on the bike before, so these really are my live impressions. And so far, oh my god, well, it's testament to the bike, isn't it? I mean, I've literally been on the bike for half an hour and already I'm totally at home with it. I love any bike which makes me feel as though I'm part of the bike, and because I feel as though I'm riding it, I'm down inside the bike, if you know what I mean, rather than sitting on the bike. I'm very much connected to it. There is so much torque low down, it's unbelievable. Like, you don't run out of torque, you run out of road. And torquing of which, get it, the power plant of the Stelvio is the same engine used in the V100 Mandello, and that is a 1042cc transverse V twin, producing 113 horses at 8,700 RPM and 104 Newton meters of torque at 6,750 RPM. Another observation is that whilst there's that beautiful Guzzi characteristic of a thump from the engine, there is zero vibration. Nothing coming up through the pegs or the bars. Actually, on that note, the pegs are mounted to the engine. I mean, that's how much faith Guzzi have in zero vibrations, because if you're going to notice the vibes anywhere, I mean, mounting pegs to an engine is a fairly brave move. There is nothing. The riding position at 54 years old is a thing of luxury. At 5'8" and a 30-inch inseam, my back is straight and elbows slightly bent in the event that I do tackle any off-road lumps and bumps. The legroom is perfect, with my legs at a 90-degree angle. One thing I also noticed is that when standing on the somewhat spongy foot pegs, it has to be said, the bars are at the perfect height to allow me to arch forward slightly and therefore keeping a little bit of weight over the front wheel. I didn't film that bit, of course, because I'm so newly fangled with the bike. The comfort is plush and the seat is how every manufacturer should make a posterior mould. On top of that, the Sachs suspension has nearly 7 inches of travel on the front with preload and rebound adjustments, and then the rear dial for preload and rebound, and not to mention the 3 different engine mappings with 2 levels of engine braking and 4 levels of traction control will surely cater for just about any style of riding anywhere. Now, if that's not enough, it's all laid out in a really intuitive manner in this 5-inch screen, which I have to say, even on a sunny day like this, is super clear and easy to read. I'm in 4th gear there, and it's pulling like a male stripper at a hen party after they've eaten a bucket of oysters. Oh, now I could get into trouble very quick here. So moving swiftly on, how does it handle? I can't emphasize enough how well this is just falling into the corners. And it's linear as well. You don't sort of get to a point when you're leaning over and then it wants to tip the whole way. In fact, if anything, it wants to stand back up. Another thing I've noticed in my short time on the bike at the moment is because the windscreen is offering so much protection, and very easy to lull you into a false sense of security. I've been riding around on a naked bike over the last month or two with no screen, and you can sort of gauge what speed you're doing by the wind presence on your body. You don't get that on this bike because there is literally nothing from the screen. The suspension is just soaking up any little divot or bump on these country roads as well. And I haven't even set the suspension to me. I don't think it needs that much alteration. If anything, I'd put a bit more preload onto the rear, which you can do easily with that dial. So like any bike I sort of get on and ride, one of the first things I always think is, what would I use a bike like this for? And already I'm thinking it would tick a few boxes for me. So you could mess about on the country lanes, you know, or even off-road, especially with these Anarchy tyres on, Michelin Anarchies and cracking tyres. So you could mess about on dirt tracks, dusty roads, off-roads, green lanes, but at the same time, the comfort that I'm experiencing on this would allow you to go much, much further afield. I'm actually in tour mode at the moment, funny enough, the riding mode, so let's just pop it into, it's got off-road, rain, sport, tour, road. Let's go into, well, let's go into sport, see what happens. Oh wow. So again, the pull even in fourth gear there is ridiculous, but it holds on to the gears a lot longer than the tour mode, obviously. So you could really have a lot of fun using all these different modes as well. I wish I had the bike for a bit longer. As the video suggests, this is first ride, first impressions. I'd love to have a bike like this for a few weeks and really play around with all the different modes. It's got a 6-axis IMU, so it's got lean sensitive traction control and ABS as well, all lean sensitive. So this demo bike has crash detection from the radar system on the front, cruise control, operated by radar, so it slows you down. Again, pointless talking about that on these roads, no traffic at all. But it's also got that lane splitting warning as well. This particular demo model doesn't have quick shifter fitted, but as with any bike really, you can get quick shifters fitted for around the €300 mark. It's not an expensive upgrade. This bike does not have heated grips either, and again, you can get them added. Okay, now let's just take that screen down. It's so intuitive as well, just one button. Why can't all these new bikes, I'm not going to reference any other bike there, I'm not going to slag them off. Why can't new bikes just be as simple as this one? Very easy, and you can do it without taking your eyes off the road, which is obviously the height of safety. And now I'm getting a lovely little breeze on me. The wind noise has increased a bit inside the helmet, but that's understandable because I've lowered the screen by 7 centimeters. Alright, let's have a little look around this incredible looking machine. Look at that view, folks. Holy God. However, this is the focal point today. Okay, let's take a moment to admire this thing of beauty. Looks are obviously subjective, but I think this is stunning. All the little signature motifs and branding just allude to class. Even the daylight running light is completely different to anything else on the road. Underneath the 21-litre fuel tank is the 1042cc transverse V twin engine. I mentioned the output earlier, but what is noticeable here is that the engine has been mounted, well, it looks like it's been mounted upside down. And without getting into the boring jargon as to why Guzzi have done this, one of the advantages is that they've been able to bring the internal fuel storage much further down and pretty much under the seat. This has made a massive difference in terms of the balance, because for a bike weighing in in as a heavyweight at 246 kilograms wet, it feels like a flyweight and is now so easy to maneuver around a car park as well as weaving in and out of slow-moving traffic. Starting at the front, there's a 19-inch spoked wheel complemented by a 17-incher at the rear with tubeless Michelin Anarchy tyres, which are a superb all-round tyre. The braking system is the top of the class, of course. Brembo 4-pot caliper on the front with a 2-pot at the rear. And just take a look at that beautiful single-sided swing arm. One more thing to note whilst we're down here is the rear KYB monoshock. I mean, just look how it's set off to the side here. Normally something like this would be centrally mounted. But I suspect, yep, because they're Italian, they've mounted it to the side just to make it look absolutely stunning. No, there's probably something more to that. And just to finish off at the rear, those taillights just give you the absolute death stare. Switch gear feels solid and clickable, even through the thickest of gloves, I would have thought, even though I've only got summer gloves on today. It's very much laid out like the Aprilia. Well, of course, Piaggio own Moto Guzzi and Aprilia, so of course there's going to be a few similarities there. You can see in the mirror there the little blind spot detection light. I noticed on the way here when it was flashing up, even without looking at the mirrors, you can see it from your sort of peripheral vision, which is exactly how it should work, so you don't take your eyes off the road. So nice and bright for that as well. And on board the cockpit we have an accessory USB, so you can power your action cameras as well. So the seat height as standard is 830mm. You can get different options which range from 810 up to 850mm, but I'm very happy with the seat at this height. I shall step aside now and show you exactly how I look on the bike. So as you can see, I can still, well, not quite flat foot, but I'm still in control of the bike. I can still get the balls of my feet down, no problem at all. So, and I feel very comfortable with that. Okay, let's start this little baby up. See what I mean about the blind spot warning there? I don't know if you saw that, but it's very bright. Ooh, I do like that screen when it fires up. I'll just power off and power back up again. Look at those graphics. That just lets you know that you're travelling in style. Look at that. I hope you can see that on the camera. Beautiful. All right, here we go. I'm in first gear, so side stand up. I really hope you can hear that, because that's like a lion wanting to get out of the cage. And actually, another thing I've just noticed, when you rev the bike, it still has that beautiful characteristic of a Guzzi engine. It still pulls to one side. Although Moto Guzzi said that they've put a shaft within the engine to try and counterbalance that. Well, I'm pleased that they haven't eliminated it, because I love that about a Guzzi engine. Okay, here we go. So this version of the bike, which is the PFF version, which has the radar, cruise control, crash avoidance and lane assistance, is available from Mega Bikes in Dublin for €19,995. If you don't want all that fancy gubbins, then it's available for €18,995. There are two different colours available on both model options. If it was me, I think I'd definitely be going for this one with that flash of yellowy orange. It really does stand out. It's a hell of a lot of bike for that price, especially in Ireland where, well, a lot of this class of bike has creeped well up into the 20s, well, even the 30s. I try not to compare bikes to basically what would be similar to this, but I can't help thinking that the new Africa Twin Adventure Sports would be a very similar ride to this, although the Adventure Sports, I have no doubt, would be a lot more top heavy. But, I mean, dare I say it, you could put this in the same class as the R1300 GS as well. The comfort levels are unbelievable. Now, if you followed me for a while, you'll know exactly how picky I am with the comfort of the seat on any bike. It's actually, after looks, it's one of the first things I sort of observe, if you like. And this seat, well, it's passed with flying colours. Let's, I'll get round these bends and we'll do a little brake test. Nothing behind me. I'll just test the rear brake first of all. And locking up on ABS there. You know, typical rear brake. It's there for a reason. Hill starts, I presume. Not much more than that. So I'll use this opportunity now. Oh my God. and I wasn't even slamming them on. The other thing I noticed there is that there's very minimal fork dive, which is always nice. So a bike like this, which you would easily be thinking of taking a pillion with you, you're not going to end up spooning. She or he won't be kissing the back of your neck every time you brake. maybe you'd like that person to be kissing the back of your neck. I'm just going to try that again. I love that. That is incredible braking system. Moto Guzzi reckon you get a oops a daisy. Sheep feeding off another in the middle of the road. They won't last too long at that lark. It's a very bad idea. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Moto Guzzi claimed to get 50 miles to the gallon on this, and you probably would on a tour, and especially if you set the bike into touring mode as well. So the question I ask myself at the end of every sort of test ride on a motorbike, if you like, is did I enjoy it, first of all? Well, I'm sort of still grinning from ear to ear, and I've been out on this for nearly the day, I suppose, and it's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Is it because I'm newly fangled with it? I don't know, but I'll be as happy riding this around country lanes every Sunday morning, doing a bit of off-road, bit of exploring. And if it was my bike, I'd feel as though I could. And then the other thing is, I'd be as happy to go as far afield on a tour on this bike. I suspect that's ultimately what Moto Guzzi had in mind, even though it's an adventure bike. Oh, and another thing to add, and I apologise in advance, I'm afraid I've had to gender this motorbike because I honestly think, folks, we have just seen the birth of the new Italian Stallion. I cannot say enough positive things about this bike. As with any bike I ride, I always try and look for at least one negative to balance out the review sort of thing, even though this is first ride, first thoughts. It's not a full review, but I am trying to find something I don't like, and I'm clutching at straws. I cannot find anything I don't like about this bike. Thank you so much once again to Mega Bikes for loaning me this for the day, especially since one of the last bikes I took out on review had dropped. So you're all very kind. Like, what an absolute stonker of a bike. Well done, Moto Guzzi. Fantastic bike. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. If you enjoyed this, please help me help my channel by liking and subscribing. And I bring out my videos every Saturday morning on YouTube at 8 o'clock. And until then, have a great week, everybody. Ride safe. Dave Perry, WheelieGoodTV, over and out.